Let's talk about what brought you two together. First, Sergeant, how did you come across and see Congressman Duffy?
Well, it was kind of serendipitous. I had been asked to speak at a association of audiologists and hearing aid specialists, and I was introduced to this International Hearing Society who told me about this effort to help veterans out in the local business space. And through that organization, I was introduced to the congressman and understood his support for veterans at large. And it was sort of a great collision, I think, of hopefully some two good men that want to do some good for our veterans. And
you have some hearing issues after your service.
I do. I had significant hearing loss that started on October 3rd, 1993 during that battle in Mogadishu. And it's one of those afflictions that is normally probably not associated with war wounds, and I can appreciate that. However, it's one of those things that if it happens to you, it becomes quite a big deal. And, hearing loss amongst our servicemen and women that have deployed in support of our national efforts in Afghanistan and Iraq and all over the world in the global war on terror, it's a big deal.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's one of these things that veterans, this is the constant worry right now, because veterans coming back from war in Iraq and Afghanistan, and they need some health care, whether it's PTSD or whether it's a limb that has to be replaced or some other part of their body that has to be healed, and they're just having all these types of problems. But instead of saying we can't do anything, Congressman, you're doing something about it.
That's right. I got to tell you, when Matt came into our office, we get a lot of people that'll come through, some famous people, but our office was a buzz that Matt was coming in, our hero from Black Hawk Down. I have everyone even going out today buying books so he can sign them. Yeah. But yeah, so he came in and, sometimes we think of hearing issues as our World War II age veterans. But the truth is we have our from World War II all the way, from Afghanistan and Iraq and everywhere in between, folks that are coming back that are having real problems. And,
right.
and if you can hear, you don't understand it, but if you've lost your hearing...
Or you have that ringing. Is that tinnitus?
Yeah.
Is that what it's called?
It's the most annoying...
And you have that?
I do, in both ears. And it's absolutely just I hate to say woe is me, but it is. It's just an annoying nuisance. It doesn't hurt, but it's annoying. And it clouds your... that's just one part of your hearing deprivation that... you think, gosh, this is just miserable.
Right. And this is from hearing explosions throughout your career?
Brian, I got to tell you just a quick story that would seem so obvious, but, the sound of gunfire, and we're talking large volumes of heavy gunfire from miniguns on helicopters to RPGs exploding around you. It's so loud it makes your molars hurt. Literally, I mean, your teeth feel like they're going to fall out. It's so loud. And you do that for a couple of hours, let alone days. The effect of that is almost paralyzing at times. And so that just happened on one afternoon in one firefight in one battle. And then you talk about these kids now that are on their third, fourth, fifth deployment.
13 years.
You're like, my gosh. I mean, right. Of course they're in bad shape just from that one right. particular piece of your health care.
So the veterans, we have a lot of veterans listening to the show. So tell us right now what's in the works that gives us hope.
So here's the problem. With the VA, there's a backlog. And the way that you're dealing with hearing issues is through audiologists. And that's a good thing. We have specialists that are well trained. But the backlog is so great, oftentimes it's taking months, if not a year, to get in and see your audiologist.
Right.
Unacceptable. So one of the ways to take the burden off the audiologist is to use hearing aid specialists to do the fitting and the tweaking of the hearing aids when they come in. And that can reduce the time frame significantly. So what our bill does when we teamed up on this was to say, listen, let's give the VA the authority to use hearing aid specialists in the appropriate times right. when those tweaks are needed. What's happening, especially in my area, Brian, Our veterans are traveling, 2, 3, 4 hours to go to the VA multiple times over multiple months and still aren't getting serviced. And so what they're doing is, the guy, as well as Matt, who brought this to me, he couldn't wait. He spent $5,000 out of his own pocket, $5,000 he didn't have, because he couldn't wait all these months to get his
hearing
hearing
my mom
fixed.
just said. I can't believe how expensive they are. She got a hearing aid, but she got it at Costco, and she just, you know what, I just got to do it. And then she had to go back again because you got to have it fitted and adjusted depending on your hearing deficit. By the way, I'm talking to Sergeant Matt Eversmann and Congressman Sean Duffy, if you're just tuning in right now. How many would you say, Matt, when you talk, Sergeant, when you talk to people out there, how many people have some type of hearing loss?
Oh, well, you look there, it's close to 2 million troops that have deployed in the global war on terror. And of that, half of them have been exposed to direct gunfire, loud noises, aircraft, whatever.
There's a reason why you wear the headsets in the range.
Yeah, it's still, you're talking hundreds of thousands, let alone those that have still not even been seen, by a healthcare provider, both on active duty or out. It could easily be 1 million. It really could. That's not an absurd number. So even if you cut it at half to be conservative, you're looking at 500,000 soldiers that have legitimate, empirically, quantified hearing loss.
And can I say one? Brian, this isn't just reducing the time frame. It's actually saving the VA money because it's less expensive to use hearing aid specialists than audiologists for these functions. And for us, there's a lot of issues that we have to deal with in the VA. We have to make sure we're supporting our veterans, the people who have put their lives on the line for this country. But if your listeners care about vets, care about this issue, if they would write their congressman, this is HR 3508, 3508. Get their congressman, get their senator behind some slight tweaks that save money and help our vets. And that kind of push from the grassroots really helps us get this kind of stuff done.